Hello and welcome back to Digital Assets Daily. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in your corner of the world. The U.S. SEC dodging crypto laws. Will Congress step in? Caitlin Long, CEO of Custodia Bank, in a long post made some big revelations about the crypto market debacle. The global digital asset industry is trading under increased volatility amid the lack of regulatory clarity, while major financial watchdogs are trying to form sets of rules to guide the new evolving industry. The U.S. SEC going hard on the crypto-related firms, and Caitlin Long, the CEO of Custodia Bank, made some big revelations about the crypto debacle. She mentioned that she handed over several pieces of evidence to law enforcement regarding the probable crimes committed by crypto fraud, and this includes the company that imploded and stuck millions of customers with losses. So, U.S. SEC ignoring complaints. Jesse Powell, co-founder and CEO of Kraken Exchange, which recently landed under the scrutiny of the U.S. SEC, made comments about Custodia Bank's CEO claims, and he stated that it is infuriating to point out massive red flags about illicit activities regulators, but they decide to ignore them. So he added the financial watchdogs make arguments like they are offshore and it's complicated for years. Also, to Ripple vs. SEC, crypto lawyer answers critic on basis of lawsuit, and the stakes are higher in the lawsuit, as this article discussed. So in a post by Bill Morgan, who's also a crypto lawyer and XRP enthusiast, stating many reasons. Firstly, the evidence in the case is Ripple's sales are less than half of 1% of XRP sales. The SEC says all XRP sales are investment contracts. What offers does XRP register? So, excuse me. Basically in 2021, Hero, formerly known as Blockstack, announced that its Stacks token STX was no longer a security, and as such it would discontinue submitting annual reports to the SEC. Now, Hero's declaration that STX is no longer a security may not be the same as what the SEC says, as no confirmation of the status of STX from the agency was available at the time of writing, and overall the decision to register tokens with any agency pales in comparison to the crucial question of who should oversee the cryptocurrency industry, the CFTC or the SEC. And that's something we've been sharing lately, as Congress is getting pretty frustrated and they're starting to aim their target towards Gary Gensler, as he is the main chair for the SEC, the U.S. SEC. And that's why we've seen Congress come in. And I've always said, again, from day one, that most likely the clarity will come from Congress. Here's why. If you are, what is the word I'm looking for? Again, it's one of those things, when you're under the pressure of recording in the timeline under the mic, you blank out on the most simple things that you would say quickly in a conversation. But if you go back to the SEC, the way they're, doing their regulatory authority, now you have them regulating, basically by fines, so to speak. I mean, even, what did you have even recently with Kim Kardashian and a few other even celebrities, which, it's to be seen which one's more critical, the company or the person, in this sense promoting it. Because again, I understand their point of, she's influencing millions and millions of people who would just blindly follow her and do whatever. And again, that is something with this channel, for example, we often say is, the three major rules that we imply with investing: never invest more than you can afford to lose, never invest more than you can afford to, basically hold long term. It might be 5 years or 10 years that you're holding this. Doesn't necessarily mean that every asset is bad. Just means it needs time to mature. Or I guess you could say the third and final thing would be, do your own research. No matter who the influencer is, it doesn't matter how many people you may follow. Just kind of take all of the information together and then create your own, I would like to put it and word it as comfort zone, as that way you're basically doing your own risk management at that point. I always say follow multiple people so you have different perspectives and opinions, because if you kind of stick in the one same little realm, you might have that little vacuum, so to speak, and you're always going to find the answer you're looking for in that specific community. But if you follow multiple different, 2 or 3 different perspectives and opinions, somewhere in the middle is typically about where you want to be. And that's just kind of a consistent thing with life itself. And then coming back in, Attorney John Deaton says this is the only victory the SEC can even get in the Ripple case. So as Attorney Deaton does not believe Ripple will be asked to pay disgorgement, as we get into the article just a bit, Attorney John E. Deaton has asserted that the only victory the U.S. SEC will likely get in this case against Ripple is that the blockchain payments sold XRP as a security from 2013 to 2017. He's saying that's the best case scenario that the U.S. SEC will get out of this entire lawsuit. So it would be really nice to see something happen, and crossing my fingers but not holding my breath. I would love to see something before March 20th, before the ISO 20022 goes live. I would be ecstatic if we heard something from now until then that basically said the lawsuit was over, because that would be an unbelievable explosion of utility and FOMO creating its own little bull run and being so explosive. I think it would launch and then pull a few of the other assets and its stream behind it, because anywhere you find XRP on a different level, you're finding XLM and XDC as well. I mean, those literally are the 3 different tiers of finance. You have wholesale, retail, and trade within those 3 assets. As I take a quick sip of coffee, and going into the next article here, Forbes contributor thanks the XRP Army published censored article criticizing the SEC elsewhere. And this is something too, I believe, I'm not sure if everyone saw this, but it was pretty interesting to see as well. This is from Rosalind Layton, PhD. Dear XRP Army, thank you for the interest and support. Sunshine is the best disinfectant. Basically, dark to light. Time to unseal the Hinman documents, end quote, Dr. Layton writes. And that is something, too, as I went into the Forbes article yesterday, it was like removed. So it was pretty interesting. As I clicked it, it was fading from the article saying error no longer published or something to that effect. So that was pretty interesting to see. If you guys have seen that as well, please leave a comment below. Say, yes, we did see exactly what you're talking about, because that was very interesting whenever the article was going into the discussion about the Hinman documents. I'm not sure if Forbes removed it or what happened there, but it was interesting to see as it kind of faded away and said it was no longer available, some kind of an error. I don't remember off the top of my head exactly. I didn't screenshot it, and maybe I should have, but it was just interesting all the same. Next article, will XRP finally move up if Ripple wins against the SEC? And that's pretty much something that everyone is waiting to see. The thing here is in the article, they're discussing basically XRP is at 0.4005, trading volume of 1.13 million. And it's something everybody who's an investor or a follower of Ripple and or XRP is waiting to see, because the whole thing is we've always tossed out the thing that basically once the SEC is over, the price would go somewhere between $12 and $25, like instantly. And then FOMO would really kick in and shoot it past 100. That was always the discussion we had heard. But again, I keep going back. There was a great interview at CKJ Crypto News had posted a few years ago. I believe her name, my mind is thinking Australia. I haven't seen it in a few years, and maybe I'll pull it up myself and go back and view it. She was from the financial industry, like the banking world, and she had a really, really good breakdown of where the price of XRP, had it not been manipulated, where it should have been even back then. It was like 342, give or take. And then he followed up and did an interview about a year later, give or take, might have been exactly to the point of a year. And the price had increased significantly. But she had a really good breakdown. I believe it was called something like esoteric XRP or something to that effect. And I believe she was an older lady from Australia, but it was very well detailed and broken down, and her explanation was clean and clear. So I thought that was very interesting. And again, once we get into the utility and we move past all of the the volume that everyone's discussing now, I think a lot of people will be significantly surprised. Even if you go back to the original plan of basically happening instantly and overnight, and then we've seen a range anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 in the discussion of XRP. Honestly, I believe, going back to David Schwartz's example of whether XRP was $1 or whether XRP was $1 million, and you had to move $1 million, it would still be one XRP. If you think back to that, I would almost think the end game, once no one is, basically no retail investor is still holding XRP, I could easily see XRP being a price of $1 million, and here's why. If you go into all the money quote that we've always heard for the full global population, here's the thing: if you go into currencies typically last like 50 to 100 years. If you go into the full volume, even just Swift alone, you're right at $6 trillion a day. So you're talking almost 1.8-ish, close to $2 trillion a year just in Swift alone. Now imagine that volume if you're doing, not saying it's all XRP, but just as a hypothetical scenario. Now imagine that volume running through XRP, because it's doing all the cross-border transfer. Now imagine that running for 50 to 100 years. It's it's easier to comprehend that type of volume and that type of mass, because again, the more you use XRP, it's deflationary, so it's going to be burning XRP throughout that timeline as well. And to last again all that many transactions for 50 to 100 years, the price would have to be significant. As David Schwartz says, the price cannot be low. All right, as we get into the next article, this is why Vechain VET price could increase by more than 50% next month. Vechain broke out from a descending resistance line, and there was a resistance at 0.027. Vechain VET has completed an ABC correction, and this is again why they're very bullish. Once it broke out from the descending resistance line on January 20, afterward it increased until it reached a high of 0.027 on February 8th. The high was made at the 0.618 fib retracement resistance level and a horizontal resistance area. So again, they're feeling a little bit bullish on that popping out and the price increasing. Also, too, Vechain's Hive Summit is to host 2 Nobel Laureates, unlocking a sustainability revolution with graphene and blockchain. And a lot of people have been talking, the past 2 years about graphene. So that would be very interesting to see how this plays out as well. So the Hive, a Web3 and sustainability-focused summit built to champion pioneering applications of blockchain tech for sustainability purposes. And among the high-profile speaker lineup are 2 Nobel Prize winners, Professor Sir Andrei Geim, FRS, and Professor Sir Konstantin Novoselov, FRS, both famous for their significant contributions to the field of 2D nanomaterials, specifically a graphene, and their work focusing on using graphene as a carbon capture medium using Vechain's blockchain to tokenize the outputs and generate carbon credits. And again, that's very interesting, as we've heard quite a few stories with the graphene. And even 2020, there was a huge conference even in Washington DC related and connected directly to graphene. So we'll follow this and see how this plays out as well. It'll be very exciting to see how that comes out and its connections to Vechain, V-E-T. And guys, remember, as always, this is not financial advice. It's for entertainment purposes only. Be safe, be smart, be wise, and stay in your comfort zone. And remember, before we go, I always want to leave you with a final thought. There is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. Much love, and we will catch you in the next one.